14. Postpone to a certain time, or definitely. The subsidiary motion to postpone to a certain time, or postpone definitely, or postpone, is the motion by which action on a pending question can be put off within limits to a definite session, day, meeting, or hour, or until after a certain event. The expression to defer should be avoided, since it is often subject to vague usage. This motion can be moved regardless of how much debate there has been on the motion it proposes to postpone. A question may be postponed either so that it may be considered at a more convenient time, or because debate has shown reasons for holding off a decision until later. This motion should not be confused with postpone indefinitely, which, as explained earlier in Chapter 11, does not actually postpone the pending question, but kills it. At the time when a postponed question is due to come up, there may be another question pending, or other business of a higher priority than the postponed question, that would delay its consideration, as fully explained in Chapter 41. In its simple and usual form, the motion to postpone a question makes it a general order, which cannot interrupt pending business. To give the question being postponed a special type of priority that will enable it to interrupt the consideration of other business at the specified time, the motion to postpone may, by a 2/3 vote, be adopted in a form that makes the question a special order. See time at which a postponed question is to be taken up again, 14:13 through 17, and the illustrations under form and example, 14:20 through 22. When a motion proposes to postpone a matter that is not pending, for example, the hearing of a committee's report, such a motion is not the subsidiary motion to postpone, but an incidental main motion, Chapter 10, if the effect would be to change action already taken by the Assembly, as, for example, to postpone for 3 weeks the hearing scheduled for October 15th, such a motion is a particular case of the motion to amend something previously adopted, Chapter 35. Standard descriptive characteristics. The subsidiary motion to postpone to a certain time, 1. Takes precedence over the main motion, over the subsidiary motion to postpone indefinitely, to amend, and to commit, and over the incidental motions for division of a question for consideration by paragraph or seriatim. It takes precedence over a debatable appeal that adheres to the main question, or a point of order that adheres to the main question has been referred by the chair to the judgment of the Assembly and which is debatable when so referred. See 23.2.5. If no motions other than those named in the preceding sentence are pending or involved in the appeal or point of order, and it also takes precedence over a debatable non-hearing appeal or point of order to which it is applied, it takes precedence over a debatable motion to reconsider when it is in order to apply to that motion under the conditions stated in standard characteristic 2 below. It yields the subsidiary motion to limit or extend limits of debate for the previous question to lay on the table, to a motion to amend that is applied to it, to all privileged motions, and to all applicable incidental motions. Can be applied to main motions with any motions to postpone indefinitely, amend or commit, or for division of a question or consideration by paragraph or seriatim that may be pending. Can be thus applied to orders of the day, 14:13 through 17, chapter 41, or questions of privilege, chapter 19, while they are actually pending as main motions, and such an application is independent of and does not affect any other matter that may have been interrupted. And such can be applied to debatable appeals or points of orders referred by the chair to the judge of the Assembly that are debatable when so referred, 23.2.5, but if such an appeal or point of order adheres 1035 to the main question, that is, if it must be decided before the main question is decided, the motion to postpone can be applied to the appeal or point of order only in connection with the main question, which is thus also postponed, see also 14.18, can be applied to non-hearing debatable appeals or points of order submitted to the judge of the Assembly separately, without affecting the status of any pending questions not involved in the appeal or point of order, and can be applied to an immediately pending debatable motion to reconsider. Chapter 37. When it is in order to postpone the question or series of adhering questions containing the motion or motions to be reconsidered, in which case all such questions and adhering motions are postponed with the motion to reconsider. It cannot be applied to an undebatable appeal or to an undebatable motion to reconsider if it cannot be applied to any subsidiary motion, except that its application to a main question also affects any motions to postpone indefinitely, amend, or commit that may be pending as noted above. It cannot be moved after the adoption of a motion to close debate on the main question, a definite hour of a motion to limit the total time allowed for debate, but it remains in order if only a limitation on the length of speeches is in force. See Chapter 15. Motions to amend, to limit or extend lengths of debate and for the previous question can be applied to it without affecting the main question. The motion to postpone cannot be laid on the table alone, but when it is pending the main question can be laid on the table, carrying to the table also the motion to postpone. It cannot be postponed indefinitely or committed. 3. Is out of order when neither has the floor. 4. Must be seconded. 5. Is debatable, but debate is limited, and that it must not go into the merits of the main question any more than is necessary to enable the Assembly to decide whether the main question should be postponed and to what time. 6 is amendable as the time to which the main question is to be postponed and as to making the postponed question a special order. See 14, 13 through 17, chapter 41. 7 requires a majority vote in its simple and usual form. If, as originally moved, or as a result of amendment, it makes a question a special order, however, the motion to postpone then requires a 2/3 vote, because it suspends any rules that will interfere with the question's consideration at the time specified. An amendment to the motion to postpone requires only a majority vote, even if it would add a provision to make the postponed question a special order, and would consequently change to 2/3 the vote necessary for adoption of the motion to postpone. 8. An affirmative vote on the motion to postpone can be reconsidered. A negative vote on the motion to postpone can be reconsidered only until such time as progress in business or debate has been sufficient to make it essentially a new question. Thereafter, the motion can be renewed. See 38.7. Further rules and explanation. Limits on postponement and their relation to meeting and session. Rules limiting the time to which a question can be postponed are related to the terms meeting and session, Chapter 8, as follows. In the case where more than a quarterly time interval, see 9.7, will allow between meetings, for example in an annual convention of delegates or in a local society that holds only an annual meeting, a question cannot be postponed beyond the end of the present session. In cases where no more than a quarterly time interval will elapse between sessions, a question can be postponed until, but not beyond, the next regular business session. For example, in a society that holds regular business meetings on the same day of each week, a question cannot at one meeting be postponed for longer than a week. If it is desired to postpone a question to a time between regular meetings, it is necessary first to provide for an adjourned meeting, which is a continuation of a session or scheduling it. Then the question can be postponed to that meeting. If a motion to postpone a question to a regular meeting is already pending, the privileged motion to fix the time to which to adjourn, Chapter 22, can be used to set an adjourned meeting, and the motion to postpone can then be amended so that the proposed postponement will be to the adjourned meeting. Some societies have frequent sessions for social or cultural purposes at which business may be transacted, and also hold a session every month or quarter especially for business. In such societies, these rules apply particularly to the regular business sessions, to which questions can be postponed from the previous regular business session or from any intervening meeting. When the time to which a question has been postponed arrives and the question is taken up, it can be postponed again if the additional delay will not interfere with the proper handling of the proposed motion. Neither the motion to postpone to a certain time nor any amendment to it is in order if the effect would be the same as that of the motion to postpone indefinitely. That is, if it would kill the measure. For example, a motion to postpone until tomorrow pending question of accepting an invitation to a banquet tonight cannot be recognized as a motion to postpone to a certain time. The terms say the rule that this motion is not in order, or if the motion to postpone indefinitely is in order, the time state the motion as such. The same would apply to a motion to postpone a question from one regular business session to the next in cases where the next business session will not be held within a quarterly time interval. See 9.7. Rule against postponement of a class of subjects. As already noted, the subsidiary motion to postpone can be applied only to a question that is actually pending, but an individual item of business that is not pending can, when appropriate, be postponed by means of a main motion. It is not in order, either through a subsidiary motion or a main motion, to postpone a class of business comprised of several items or subjects, such as reports of officers or reports of committees. See Order of Business, Chapter 41. But each report can be postponed separately as it is announced or called for. Note: it should be noted that a similar rule applies to the subsidiary motion to lay on the table. See 17.3.2, 17.14, and 41.38. Back to reading. If it is desired to reach an item immediately, but it falls at a later point in the regular order of business, the Assembly, by 2/3 vote by unanimous consent, 458-63, can adopt a motion to suspend the rules and take up the desired question, or equivalently, to pass one or more items or classes of subjects in the order of business. After a question taken up out of its proper order by such a suspension of the rules has been disposed of, the regular order of business is resumed at the point where it was left off. See Chapter 25. Postponement of a subject that the bylaws set for a particular session. A matter that the bylaws require to be attended to at a specified session, such as the election of officers, cannot, in advance and through a main motion, be postponed to another session. It can then be taken up at any time when it is in order during the specified session, that is either as originally convened or at any adjournment of it, and it can be postponed to an adjourned meeting in the manner explained above, after first adopting, if necessary, a motion to fix the time to which to adjourn. The adjourned meeting, as already stated, is a continuation of the same session. The procedure of postponing such a matter to an adjourned meeting is sometimes advisable, as in an annual meeting for the election of officers on a stormy night when, although a quorum is present, the attendance is abnormally small. If the matter has actually been taken up during the specified session as required, it may also be postponed beyond that session in accordance with the regular rules of motion to postpone. It is usually unwise to do so, however, unless completing it during the session proves impossible or impractical. Time at which a postponed question is taken up again. postponed question becomes an order of the day for the session, day, meeting, or hour to which it is postponed. It cannot be taken up before the time for which it is set, except by reconsidering Chapter 37, the vote on the motion to postpone, or by suspending the rules by a 2/3 vote. The postponed question is taken up either at the specified time or later as follows. Orders of the day consist of general orders and special orders. If the motion to postpone does not make the postponed question a special order, it becomes a general order, which cannot interrupt pending business even if the time for which it is set has arrived or passed. By a 2/3 vote, however, a question can be postponed and made a special order, giving it priority over general orders as well as the ability to interrupt pending business. If it is desired to reserve an entire meeting, or as much of it is necessary for the consideration of a single subject matter, can be made the special order for a meeting. See 4157. When set for a session, day, or meeting, but not for a particular hour, special orders and general orders usually have their established places in the order of business. See 4182-26 and 4146. The full rules regarding the priority of orders of the day and their relation to each other and to the order of business are given in Chapter 41. When the appointed time has been reached for a postponed question to be taken up, and as soon as no other business of a higher priority interferes, the chair states the question is pending. For example, see 1422, 4119, and 4124. Therefore, no further motion is normally needed to bring the question before the assembly. However, if the chair fails to state the question at the correct time, any member may then demand that the postponed question be taken up as ordered by making a call for the orders of the day. Chapter 18. Effect on motions adhering to a postponed question. When a main motion is postponed, one or more of the subsidiary motions to postpone indefinitely, amend and commit, or incidental motions for division of a question in consideration by paragraph or seriatim may be pending. All such adhering motions are postponed with the main question, and in consideration that question is resumed at the specified time, the business is in the same condition so far as possible as it was immediately before the postponement, with the exceptions noted in the next paragraph. Similarly, when a main motion is postponed, it also carries with it any adhering debatable appeals, Chapter 24, or adhering points of order, Chapter 23, that the chair has submitted to the judgment of the assembly and that are then debatable. No question can be postponed while an undebatable appeal or point of order is pending. Effect on subsequent debate and methods of voting. When consideration of a postponed question is resumed at a later session, any orders limiting or extending the limits of debate or for the previous question that were adopted at the original session are exhausted. See 1518 and 1611-12, and debate takes place according to the regular rules, but when consideration is resumed at the same session, even on another day, as may happen in a convention, all such applicable orders remain in effect, except for the effect of an unexhausted order limiting or closing debate as just stated. When a question is taken up on a different day from the one on which it was postponed, the right of members to debate it begins over again as if the question had not previously been debated. That is, each member can again speak twice to each debatable question, regardless of whether the member has already done so before the postponement. See Chapter 43. For the rules relating to the exhaustion of an order prescribing the method of voting on a question, see 37. Again, Chapter 30, Paragraph 7. Form an example. The form used in making this motion depends on the desired object. A. Simply to postpone the question to the next meeting when it will have priority over new business. I move to postpone the motion, or that the question be postponed, to the next meeting. B. To specify an hour before which the question will not be taken up, unless by a 2/3 vote or through reconsideration, and when it will come up automatically as soon as no business is pending and any remaining matters that have priority over it have been disposed of. I move that the resolution be postponed until 3 p.m., or until 9 p.m. at the meeting scheduled for February 15th. C. To postpone consideration of a motion until after a certain event in a meeting when it will immediately be taken up unless a special order interferes. I move to postpone the question until after the address by our guest speaker. D. To ensure that the question will come up at the next meeting and will not be crowded out by other matters. I move that the question be postponed to the next meeting and be made a special order. 2/3 vote required for adoption. E. To ensure that the matter will come at precisely a certain hour, even if it interrupts any business. I move that the resolution be postponed and be made a special order for 3 p.m. tomorrow. 2/3 vote required for adoption. F. To postpone a subject such as a revision of the bylaws, so an adjourned meeting at which the entire time can be devoted to, if necessary, a motion to fix the time to adjourn must first be made and adopted, and then the motion to postpone may be made in this form. I move that the question be postponed and made the special order for the adjourned meeting set for next Tuesday evening. 2/3 vote required for adoption. Assume that a controversial resolution is pending at a convention, that many of the delegates who are most interested and best informed on the subject will not be able to be present until tomorrow. Member A obtained the floor. I move to postpone the resolution until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Second. It is moved and seconded to postpone the resolution until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Member B, after obtaining the floor and stating that in his opinion further consideration of the resolution should under no circumstances be delayed beyond 11 a.m. the next day. I move to amend the motion to postpone by adding and make it a special order. Second, it is moved and seconded to amend the motion to postpone the resolution until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning by adding and make it a special order. Debate, if any. The question is on amending the motion to postpone by adding and make it a special order. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. The question now is on the motion as amended to postpone the resolution until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning and make it a special order. This motion now requires a 2/3 vote. Are you ready for the question? Those in favor of the motion to postpone the resolution until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning and make it a special order will rise. Be seated. Those opposed rise. Be seated. There are 2/3 in the affirmative, and the motion is adopted. The resolution is special order for 11 a.m. tomorrow. The next item of business is... If the amendment to make a special order is rejected, the chair proceeds in the usual manner to take a voice vote on the unamended motion to postpone. If the motion to postpone is not adopted, he again seats the question on the resolution. But if the resolution has been made a special order for the following date, 11 a.m., as in the above example, then at the appointed time, the chair would say, "It is now 11 o'clock. The following resolution was made a special order for this time. Resolve that." The question is on the adoption of the resolution.